Hey everybody, Mark Johnson here, founder and creative director of Able Ape Studios, back again with another book review. The book I'm reviewing today is The Mindful Athlete by George Mumford. If you're not familiar with him, I wasn't familiar with him when I first, heard of his name. I actually seen a interview that Ty Lopez did with George Mumford, and that way and through that I heard about the book, and just kind of listening to the interview. It was like maybe 30-minute interview, and to kind of hear some of the answers or the questions that were asked and the answers that George was giving. Definitely intrigued me to want to read this book. He at a certain point in his career, he helped Michael Jordan. He worked with Kobe Bryant. Definitely Phil Jackson when they were winning those championships with the Chicago Bulls. To kind of be more mindful. And, this book kind of basically touches on maybe some spiritual aspects. And so maybe that might turn some people off. But I think if you really kind of set that aside and kind of look at it as things that can just kind of help you in your daily life. We're not all professional athletes. We're not playing at the top level as some of these guys like Michael Jordan was playing. But at the same time, you know, we still deal with stress. We still deal with tough moments, and it's good to have some kind of thing to kind of fall back on, that to kind of work through the stress, work through the tough moments. And I think this what this book is, to me, is really talking about, is really being able to be mindful in the moments where it's definitely tough to kind of do that. Like I always do in my book reviews, I will talk about the top three things that I derived from this book that I thought were great points or great things that I'd like to share with you, and maybe give you a better idea if this is something that's a book that you'd like to read. And like I always will do, is I'll leave links to other book reviews in the description box below, so that you can check out the other reviews on your own time to kind of see if this is maybe a book that you like to read on your own. My number one reason for enjoying this book is the story of George Mumford. His life story. Um, you know, I think I believe he grew up in poverty. He grew up in a place where I think it was, I want to say Chicago, but I don't remember. But I'll have to look that up and kind of get that out. But he grew up poor. He grew up in the area where drugs were very prevalent. I think it was heroin, and people were just getting high all the time. It was a tough thing, and so to kind of see how he was able to kind of, in a sense, wake up and get through that, and become the person he is now. I think that was a great story. I mean, just that story I would read and kind of be enthralled with. Um, and so I think that was my number one reason. My number two reason for recommending this book is the idea of mindful, being a mindful athlete, being a mindful person, in the sense that, again, like I said, it talks about a little bit about spirituality, kind of the Buddhist kind of outlook on life. And I thought that was interesting. I maybe dibble dabbled with that in the past. Zen. I think Phil Jackson was that type of guy that was doing Zen, and it was just good to kind of see, or intriguing to kind of see how that can translate to working with professional athletes. And seeing how he was making that jump from being mindful, in the sense that you're always present, you're not, worrying about the the negative aspects of a certain thing, or being drugged down by you know negativity. My number three reason for enjoying this book or recommending this book is the fact how they told the stories of how it helped certain people, like Kobe Bryant, like Michael Jordan, in the prime of their career, and how it um, made them better athletes to deal with the pressure. And I think the other thing is kind of, you don't really know how much pressure these players are on when the moments get tight. I mean, we as spectators are either in the stands or at home watching the game on TV, and we expect these players, because they're getting paid millions of dollars, just to perform. But I think the other aspect that maybe we don't necessarily think about is the fact that there's so much pressure on them in that maybe a few minutes of the game where the game could go either way. Um, and so I like how he shared some of those stories, about some of the moments he had with certain players, and how he helped them work through their issues or their difficulties that they were having by being a mindful athlete. And I think even the techniques that he even shared with, like, as simple as breathing techniques, I think that could be translated to any of us who are having a stressful day, and just kind of just being able to breathe. So yeah, that is my book review for Mindful Athlete, by George Mumford. Again, like I said, I will always leave links to other book reviews in the description box below, so you can check out other reviews to kind of get that well-rounded view and see if this is a book that you'd like to read on your own time. And also, if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. I appreciate all the likes that I can get. And if you want to start a conversation, maybe you read this book and maybe you have some points that I didn't bring out, leave those in the comment box below. I'd like to hear those. Or if you have other books that maybe you would think that I would enjoy based off of this selection, definitely leave that in the comment box below. And yeah, if you like the progression of my channel, definitely subscribe to the channel, because I know I have a few more books to review, and I have some other things in the pipeline that are working on, so I can share with you in the near future. So, like we always do at this time, have a blessed day. See you on the flip side. Let's go.